chapstick, but such is life.
Okay.
All right. It's 5, and then 4, and then 3, and then 2, and mark it at 1.
Right. The way you did that, the way you did this, I thought you were going to say, I should have trimmed my mustache.
Well, that too. That's coming up in another week.
That too. You know what? Winter's right around the corner. Just let it all go.
Just be a big fur ball. Hairy face shape.
Just the thing. We'll call you a critter.
Maybe I'll become like a cat. I'll grow some whiskers.
I have to say, this is just for our patrons. Our patrons really, really know how to dig up some pure, absolute treasures. Where
this was a patron recommendation,
This really was.
Yes, you delightful patrons, you.
Like, where did this come from? How is this a movie? How does somebody find this? And how is it, like, not important to someone? But I would assume if I had seen this when I was younger, that it wasn't real and just a fever dream I had at some point.
I think I did see this as a kid. I remember way too much of it, to just be like, I can't quite pinpoint when I saw it or what, but there was too much familiarities in Miranda's voice and in the whole I only kept calling her daughter, but what is his daughter's name?
Whose daughter?
The woman in the wife, the woman, the daughter of the man.
The witch?
No, not her daughter. That's Miranda. Or I have the witches' names written down.
Wait, I am confused, Jamie, because there is a daughter
Jenny.
in this movie. The mother.
Yeah, the mother, but she's also the daughter of the guy.
She's the daughter of the. Okay, I'm sorry. Listen, when I'm referring to people in this movie, I refer to her as Mom or Colleen Camp, which is the actress's name, and I'll talk about Sledgehammer. Like, Sledgehammer's the dad. Do you remember Sledgehammer?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I had a hard time with character names in this, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I
always
think
have a hard
they
time.
fit. So she's a Jenny and he's a Steve. I just wrote it down. Jenny and Steve. Maybe he's a Steve, but she doesn't seem to be a Jenny.
I don't think an adult woman that has a child should be named Jenny. Jennifer's fine. You can just go by Jennifer then.
Or Jen.
Jen.
Yeah, she didn't.
Yeah. Jenny is a freewheeling ball of fun, and this
girl's kind of she's a ball of fun, but for all different reasons. Like her reactions to things and her tremendous amount of issues and
throughout this movie,
she has a neck brace on at one point.
Just for a hot minute. There's no continuity to this movie.
None.
So many scenes seem like the director was like, okay, we're just going to run through this. We're not really filming. Don't worry. We'll do it for real later. And then it made it in.
There's so much randomness. Like, I almost wanted to watch it again because you would catch the randomness and I'd be like, why is he holding a weird doll in a plastic container? Did you see that? They're having a conversation. He's got this doll in his hand like they're so much random. The cat's tail with a
I can't. Like, this movie is wild.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I saw this thing.
Me too.
Like, I'm so happy.
Me too.
That I am not going to die without having seen this movie.
This should have been. It could be called like a brought to you by Good Times Great Movies. Like this is what this type of movie and what this has in it is what our podcast represents, right? It's like
I really do think, like, if I was programming screenings or something, and maybe we should do that one day, is just like if we were programming a 12-hour film festival of Good Times Great Movies, there were so many times in this movie I was like, this reminds me of My Mom's a Werewolf.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's the mom-centric nature of this, the fact that it is really cheesy and campy, and no one seems to know that they're in the same movie. Like, there's so much happening. It was a pure delight. I'm not going to go so far as to say this is a good movie. Like, I don't want people to rush out and be like, well, this is fantastic, and these two said it's as good as, I don't know, Gone with the Wind. But I think I think it's important for people to see this movie.
I agree. I wouldn't say it's like a solid gold like movie, like, amazing bit of filmmaking from the 80s, but I would definitely recommend people watch it.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like this movie had to win me over. I think within the first 30 seconds I was totally sold on what I was seeing.
Yeah. There was so much nuttiness happening, and then when he found people in a shoebox, I was like, I'm sold. What the is happening in this movie? I want to know.
Wow.
Sunday, Monday, happy days.
This was a real just because of Tom Bosley.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And that's the other thing. Tom Bosley shows up at the beginning, and I was like, didn't know he was in this.
No.
I had no idea.
But he takes a witchcraft class,
Oh my God.
which is amazing. Because he wants to solve the case. Damn it!
He was
committed.
The fact that witch was so angry that he infiltrated them, and he had to be like, it was $750. You got
It's like, it's no chump change, and it's not. That is expensive. When she does the spells and gets all.
First of all, I do want to say, since we're just recording right now for patrons,
right.
Laura, thank you so much.
Many thanks, Laura.
I don't want to put any pressure on you, Laura, but this is going to be hard to top.
Yeah, it's a high bar.
When next year rolls around, I'm not trying to put pressure on you, but I just don't. I don't know if you can do better than this. Prove us wrong,
right?
Please prove us wrong.
Do so.
And she undersold this to me. She wrote a little thing about like, it's not good. I really liked it as a kid. Like, that's how she described this movie. Not, there's a cat that may be smoking at some point.
And there's just so much other...
So much
randomness.
It's just random.
It's
like, and at times it feels like they filmed a 7-hour movie and we're like, we have to cut this down to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's huge chunks where I'm like, how did we get from this scene to this scene? But they are backed up to one another.
Yeah. And here we go.
All right. I think you
introduce.
Okay.
I think, well, you had mentioned that you took wild notes.
I took so many notes.
So I implore you to walk us through.
I had to calm down. I really had to calm down my note taking.
Well, there was a lot.
I was writing everything that was. I was pausing this movie more than I've paused any movie we've watched so far.
So much to take in.
It probably took me 3 hours to watch an hour and a half long movie because I kept having to pause.
Like, I gotta write that down.
I'm taking notes. I'm frantically taking notes, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm seeing now. I looked away from the screen for 10 seconds, and we're on a different planet practically.
Almost. Yeah, this is what happens when you mess with witchcraft.
I guess so.
Yeah. And so this was just to be clear, this is just a patron pick. There's no, because it kind of fits in with a little Halloween theme, but
it does. It does,
right?
But no, we're not. We're still in September.
Okay.
We actually have 2 more September movies before we even get into October.
Oh, well, there you have it.
So yeah,
all right,
I mean,
we'll have to talk scheduling after that, but
yeah. We can do that.
Okay, great.
Although I'm already exhausted from talking about this movie.
Right?
I can't think about our next recording. I can't even think about watching anything else.
Oh, I just want to watch this again. I do. I really do. It's so good.
Whenever you're ready.
Right,
I'm not trying to.
Look
I'm
at
not
you
trying
with
to
your
rush
bottle of water.
I know.
Classy.
Very fancy. Yeah. Trying to hydrate.
Yeah. Stay
away.
Hydrated. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. Here we are as we come together every 2 weeks. It is myself, Jamie Lorello. On the other side there is the DP McCambridge. Hello, hello.
I'm here.
Yes.
I can hardly contain my excitement to talk about this movie. I know at the top sometimes there's banter, blah, 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 whatever. You
want to cut right to it.
Jazzed.
He's pumped.
I'm jazzed. I haven't said this in a long time, so I'm going to say it right now.
Go ahead.
And I said it before we started recording, when we were just recording for patrons. Yeah, we have a Patreon. This is not an amazing film, so please don't take my recommendation as being like this is some sort of hidden gem. But what I will say is, if you are into very silly movies, let's say for some reason you liked Rhinestone as much as we did, please do not let us ruin this movie for you. I suggest you pause this podcast right now.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube.
Or it's on Apple TV.
Oh, it's on Apple TV? That's where you watched it? Okay, all right. It's an hour and a half long, and I don't think you'll regret putting in the time.
I promise you won't regret it, as a matter of fact. I promise.
And I almost want to say, as long as you know what you're getting yourself into, Jamie, we didn't know we were getting into. And I want to tell everyone about this. This is
I think it should definitely be added to people's Halloween roster. I had mentioned before too that this is not quite part of our Halloween October horror movie. It's not that, but this is got it's got witchy Halloweeny vibes. And if you're watching all those other Halloween movies, Practical Magic and The Craft, and what's the ones that we covered that's with
I like your Halloween movie is Practical Magic.
I don't know.
That's
what are our other ones
you go to? You're like, I don't know. Fuck Freddy Krueger, whatever.
Well,
Practical Magic is where it's at. No, I know what you're saying because this fits with Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
And even something like Teen Witch. If you like the cheesiness of Teen Witch, I think this, what this movie feels like to me is, and I don't have experience with it because people that are roughly 5 to 10 years younger than us grew up with these Disney Channel original movies.
Oh, yeah.
We're just a little bit too old for that, but I feel like this movie feels like a TV movie. This doesn't feel like an actual movie. Yeah, but it's a little
racier. It's a little racier than your average TV movie. There's definitely a lot more sexual content. There's even a little nipple.
Hey, Jamie, did that blonde girl on the beach fuck a child in this movie?
That's one of those random scenes. That's one of those randoms. What did we have to bring it there for?
I was just like, who is this character?
When she takes off her jacket and is like, come on.
It's like, hey, 12-year-old boy, I got something I want to show you. I'm only 20 years old.
Well, they're friends, apparently, when she's like, hey, kiddo. And then that whole thing, too, where they give that kid the power to, flip around and, just beat the crap.
It's the only time in this movie that we are not indoors or right on their front lawn, and we're at the beach, and we never go back.
No.
We never see that girl again.
No. We never even see the boy after that. I don't even think.
No, we do.
Oh, at the end?
He
that's right. When they show up at the house with them.
watching the game shows at some point, and then he's there at the end when the house implodes on itself. I don't quite know what happens.
Yeah, that's right. He watches his grandpa's hair grow quietly in the night.
When that college-age girl makes eyesies at that kid, takes off her jacket and is like, come with me, it's never mentioned again, or it might be the craziest thing in this movie.
It's saucy.
We're just cats.
It's saucy for sure. It's saucy.
Oh, but we're and since we're already into it, we're talking about Wicked Stepmother.
Yeah.
From 1989.
89. So we're late in the 80s here.
And this is a patron's choice. Laura, we have 2 patrons at this tier named Laura. So thank you so much for bringing this to us. We had somebody scoop up the last remaining patron's choice. So we have a new patron. Thank you. And he already told me what movie he wants us to watch. And Jamie, I don't know, have we ever watched movies that made us really sad before? When he suggested it, I was like, how are we gonna...
A tearjerker, an emotional one.
It's going to be something. It's not until May, so we have time to prepare ourselves.
Okay.
And he has time to change his mind if he wants to. I'm not telling him what to do. But no, this was Laura's choice, Wicked Stepmother. Directed by Larry Cohen, who directs a bunch of cheesy, mostly known, I guess, for cheesy horror movies. He directed a movie called The Stuff which is from the 80s, and then a movie about a killer baby called It's Alive from the 70s.
Okay.
And I think this movie is best known for being Bette Davis's last movie.
Did you read the controversy about this last movie?
I didn't.
So I guess, so if you notice, she becomes a cat, and she's not really in kind of the second half, right? It's all
she front loads this movie, though. She's all over the first half of this movie.
Because she quit. Yeah. So she had went away. She started the movie, and then she went away for dental surgery or some kind of dental whatever.
Okay.
And she didn't like the way she looked in the footage, and she was upset by it, which is kind of it's part of it. And she also said that she didn't like the director. She didn't like the way he directed. He directed for the shot and for the camera, not for the actor, which...
What?
Well, I guess it makes sense.
Like shit.
Well,
I am shocked that he's directing for the shot. There's a scene where the mother and Tom Bosley are talking in that witch's school. People, get ready. And the camera does not change. There's no cuts. It's just the two of them standing still having a conversation for the longest time. And I'm even sitting there going, shouldn't there be like a cut or like a camera angle change? That is shocking that was her issue. Well,
that was her issue. She did not like the director. She did not like the way she looked. And she was, when I read a little bit, it was kind of sad because she was upset. Like she's been so brainwashed by Hollywood that she was upset that she was going to look so, because she's 80, I think, when this movie is made. And she's definitely, she's definitely 80. And she didn't like the way she looked, and she didn't think that would present well to her fans and to perhaps anyone who would want to cast her in future movies. And like I said, it kind of made me a little bit sad that first of all, that I enjoyed this so much, and it was her last film, and she didn't enjoy it. And then it also made me a little sad that Hollywood was that whole mind fuck that she had to go through. But that is why she is not in this whole thing, was because she didn't, and they had to rewrite the script because I guess originally she was supposed to put her daughter, the what is that actress's name that played? Is it
Barbara
Priscilla?
Carrera?
Yes, Barbara Carrera.
Priscilla, yes,
was supposed to be in The Cat, and it was Bette Davis that was the one kind of, I guess, out in the world. And
so I got it, for as sad as this sounds.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that
Me
she
too.
jumped ship.
I think it works.
I don't know that it would be a better movie.
I know.
I really,
because I think she would eventually have to show that she was unhappy, and we wouldn't see.
Yeah, there's really something great about Bette Davis being in the first half of this movie, and then her sexy witch daughter is in the whole second half.
Yeah.
And you're just supposed to not assume, because we are told explicitly many times that Bette Davis is a cat. But I'm buying into it, and I'm on board for this.
Yeah.
So
I am too.
What a shame. I think the shame of it is that Bette Davis couldn't live to be 145 years old and listen to us talk about this now.
Sure is.
It is. All right, so let's
get it. Let's get right into it, because it gets right into us, doesn't it?
This movie totally got into me. Because you would think from the start of this that you were watching an episode of Murder, She Wrote, because Tom Bosley is a policeman.
Mm-hmm. He's checking out a house.
Yeah, he shows up to it, like, it's an empty house.
Pretty fancy house.
Oh, yeah, very fancy house.
Yeah.
And this woman, who I gather was their original housekeeper or something.
Yeah, she worked for the family, I guess. I think she's from 227. Isn't she one of the neighbors in 227?
I'm not sure.
I think she is. She's great.
Also, that sounds like it might be racist.
It's not, because I really do think that's where she's from. It doesn't come from.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, so she's giving him the rundown. Like, she's walking through this house talking about how she's blaming this 100-year-old woman,
it's very old
as
woman,
she calls it, for the disappearance of a family who just won the lottery.
Yes.
And this is not the first time in this movie that in my notes I was like, wait, what did he just say? Because immediately Tom Bosley's like, well, you know what we got to do? We got to dig up the basement and look for bodies. We got to dig up the yard and look for bodies. And I was like, how do you make that leap? The family's missing.
So they're buried in their house.
So they're dead. Even one of the officers is like, there's no wet cement in the basement. And so, wow. Immediately these people are dead and we need to find their
corpses. A homicide investigation is what it is. Instantly. Yeah.
Later we see Tom Bosley basically get fired for saying, I want to go to witch school. And I was like, I don't know if that's a fireable offense, but if Tom Bosley is digging up basements for every missing person's case,
maybe he's pushed some limits here.
Right, yeah. His captain might be at the end of his rope.
Yeah. No, and he, besides digging up bodies, he keeps telling the lady that's showing him around the house that she's just lucky to be alive. That she's lucky that her life was spared. Exactly. And she's kind of agreeing. Which is very sad.
Like, she even says, like, I'm going to miss these people. I'm going to miss this house.
And then, as they're exiting the room, the bedroom, I think it is, there is a meowing, a low moaning that's coming from the corner. She stops in her tracks and like, what is that? And even he's like, are there any animals? What's happening? And they investigate. I assume
people were hiding under the bed. Like, I was like, oh, this family's been bound and gagged and are, in a closet.
It doesn't sound like the sounds of people, though. It sounds like
no, it's squeaking. It sounds like mice.
Yeah. I thought they were going to find, I knew there was a cat. I thought they were going to find this, cat.
Magic cat.
Yes.
Sure.
But nay, what they find is a shoebox with the family inside.
Tiny bit, and a single shoe. And the family's like climbing all over the shoe and rolling off of it and yelling for Tom Bosley. The woman passes out, which I thought was
that is pretty great.
She totally passes out, screams, and then he looks in, and he is unfazed by this. He kind of looks in and goes, oh no. But then is immediately like, calm down, everybody. Relax. Yeah. This is not a big deal. I'm a cop. I'll take care of this.
Well, he says, it's going to be okay. Maybe not. He's got these little like, it is going to be okay, but maybe not. We'll just have to see. And then
opening credits.
Here we are.
Now, I knew this movie was about witches. I knew this movie had Bette Davis in it. It takes us a little while because now we're at the police station.
Yep.
And this is sassiest bunch of, we find out, homeless old ladies in a police lineup. 5
of the spunkiest homeless old ladies. They just want a place. They want to be arrested so that they could have a roof over their heads for the night.
That
right?
woman, the one beats the hell out of a cop and yells, "What do you have to do to get arrested in this town?" Yeah.
And now these ladies are coming through for the what is it? Not the mug shot. What is that?
Like
called?
A police lineup.
Like the lineup.
Yeah.
And the little people are in their shoebox. Oh no, they're out of the shoebox now. I think they're standing on a chair.
Yeah. And first of all, we blew our miniature budget, so we're done seeing these. Yeah, people,
we don't see them. We don't see them. We hear a little. Wow, what are you doing? I don't know, guys. Yeah.
You just see Tom Bosley sitting in a chair, looking down at the chair next to him, talking to the people. And they're like, "No, that's no, but none of these homeless elderly women that you've dragged in here are the one that
they don't
somehow made us tiny."
No.
And so Tom Bosley is like, well, you know what? It's time to get to the bottom of this case. Get their shoebox. We're going to make sure these people are, I guess, taken care of. That's the real sad part of this is I don't know what happens to those people in this movie.
Well, you would think in the witchcraft school they would maybe learn how to undo the shrinking spell. Maybe that's something he could have got on, but we don't.
That would be so great if just in passing He's in the
one of
witch
those
school,
random scenes. It could be,
Right. It should just be him being like, boy, you guys have taught me so much. I made a whole family turn back to their regular size. I would feel better about this.
Yeah.
All right. So now, a family pulls up in a cab to their home. Yeah. Another well-to-do family, another very, very large home. I don't know why do these people need more money? Like, why does the witch need to make the grandfather even more wealthy? These people seem to be loaded.
They seem to be okay. Now, this was one of those randoms. When they pull up, they must be coming home from they're coming home from a little time away from a vacation.
Time away from the home, the grandfather, and their son. These two needed to get away from everyone.
They just needed a break. And she was anxious about going. She says that. Now, as they're grabbing their luggage out of the taxi, did you notice the pineapple?
Of course I noticed the pineapple.
What the fuck with the pineapple?
I have no idea. Because even the cab driver, first of all, he's not helping them with their luggage, which I thought was kind of funny. Mm-hmm. And she mouths off to her husband, and the cab driver's like, whoa, lady, calm the fuck down. And the husband's like, hey, maybe don't talk to my wife that way.
Yeah.
P.S. Thanks for helping with the luggage. You see that pineapple? That's your tip.
Yeah.
The people in this movie are real, legitimate actors who have been in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Every performance is so bizarre.
Oh, but great.
I will say, if I had not seen Colleen Camp in stuff like Clue, she's the maid in Clue, and she's in, I went through her credits. I was like, she's got like 200 credits to her name. If I did not know that she was an actress, I'd be like, well, this is clearly the director's niece or something like this.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's just her reaction to everything is either way above where it should be or barely anything.
But I think it fits. I think her whole MO fits the campiness of the movie.
I get it, but I don't know that anybody else is doing that.
And they don't need to.
No, they don't. No, like Richard Mall, Bull from Night Court, like he's just hamming this thing up. Like he knows he's in a goofy movie and he's going to mug to the camera and stuff like that. She's not doing that. I don't know what she's doing. It's so strange. And I think, first of all, she's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, she's
great.
It
was so off-putting sometimes. I couldn't help but just be captivated because I don't know what's going through her mind as she's delivering these lines.
Well, I think she's thinking I'm in Bette Davis's last movie, and I'm gonna earn my chops here. No, there's this
outact Bette Davis. I am definitely gonna do that.
There's a mysterious pineapple, almost like it's an improv joke. Like, try to work this pineapple into this scene somehow. But if you notice later, the pineapple is in the kitchen when the kitchen's a big hot mess. The pineapple's there.
Okay, all right.
So
I was waiting for it to come back. I was like, is that pineapple important? Are they going to use it to kill a witch at some point?
Is it like part of the spell? Or where did they go that she returned with luggage and a pineapple? Very unusual. Anyway.
They went to some tropical place and that was a souvenir that they brought back.
It's just one of the many, many random things that happen in this movie. But they return. The pineapple goes to the cab driver, and into the house they go. Something is strange, she notices when she gets in the house. And she calls for her father, and he is busy watching TV. But he comes, and he says right away he has an announcement. They've only been gone for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, he has fallen in love and gotten married to a Miranda.
He's through most of this movie, even in the end when he kind of saves the day. Not kind of, he totally saves the day
because his new witch power.
It's like he's in a trance. Like everything, like at the very beginning, he's like, I just met a woman.
Yeah.
And I got married. I love game shows now.
Yeah.
And that never changes.
He is. He's in a spell.
It never changes. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. They are completely thrown because suddenly, I don't even think Bette Davis walks out. It's just clouds of smoke follow her wherever she
Well,
goes.
and first, because there's these random shots that come out. So, yes, it's very smoky in the house. But then there's a lady in a ski mask with claws that comes out smoking first.
So I guess this is from Colleen Camp's point of view.
Yeah.
Because she sees Jason Voorhees in his little hockey mask.
Yeah.
And then she sees Freddy Krueger. And then suddenly it's an old lady. That's the only time that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only time anyone looks at someone and they are a different person, a fictitious character, but they just layer it on at the beginning of this movie.
Mm-hmm. It's like they were playing around with it, wanted to see, and they put it in there. And so, yeah, there she is. Enter in a very, very layered way, Miranda.
Wow.
Or Bette Davis.
Yeah, it is. I can't explain how crazy this is. This whole movie, Bette Davis is delivering her lines like a 90-year-old woman would. She doesn't look good on camera. She looks like an older woman. So I understand her objection, but also I'm not saying how good could you look at that age. But I don't know what she wanted them to do, like how she wanted them to dress her up or lighter or whatever. She's sassy as anything.
Yeah, she fits the bill with sass. She's still, I have to say, even though she might not be, she definitely fills the screen and adds an energy to it when she's there. It's not like there's any damper on that. But she just looks 80. She looks worn and weathered. And not Jane Fonda 80, who looks fantastic for 80. She looks Bette Davis, been smoking since I'm 16 or 12 or 6.
Yeah, I guarantee
for all I know. Yeah.
Probably about 10.
Yeah. And still is smoking. And I love this family's values. They are non-smoking, progressive vegetarians.
Right.
And they're, why are you smoking in the house? And all of this new information is given to them. Like, the dad now watches game shows. He watches them all the time. He didn't used to, but now he loves them.
They make such the amount of a big deal this woman makes about, like, Dad, you never used to watch game shows. This is not you. And it's like, okay, I know where this goes, but he's sitting and watching a game show. You should not be flipping out. You should not be turned up to 11 immediatly. Maybe later when you realize that's all he does, but not when you first walk in your house.
There's a lot of things that's jarring. Now, the wife who Bette Davis makes like small talk and is like, you know what a great wedding present would be? I can't do a good Bette Davis, but
it's pretty good.
Maybe get us an ashtray for a wedding gift.
She's just ashing on their floor, which I thought was really great.
And then she's got her earrings on. She's wearing the daughter's earrings, which sets her off on another, like, I mean, she's going through my stuff, and she's been here, and she's doing this, and... It's
not... Again, we've talked about this before, but no character's reaction in this movie makes any sense in reality. Like, it takes her forever to get to the point where she's like, Dad, you kind of just met this woman and you got married. That's not the first thing she says. She's yelling about meat and smoking and going through her stuff and game shows. Like,
all of that is what's thrown at her. Yeah, so she's thrown into her dad, who's now changed his routine up and gotten married. This woman who's smoking like a chimney inside of her house. And then when she goes in her kitchen, all of it looks like they went through, Bette Davis went through her pantry and put all the items of the pantry, and she goes, "Oh my God, my herbs and vitamins!"
Yes,
and
just
we see just honks of meat all over the kitchen. One getting ready to be cooked.
When she opens the refrigerator, it's just meat of various sizes,
and like you said,
and shapes.
All of their reactions are different, so the fridge is packed with meat, and his reactions are not meeting her reactions. He goes, "No, maybe there was a sale."
Her husband is Sledgehammer, and I really think he is. You know what? I talked about how Colleen Camp's the best.
No, he does a great job.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah. It's so amazing. I love just in a few scenes when he's like, "Listen, I know she's horrible, but you remember your mom was pretty much a fucking bitch, right? Like,
you didn't have a good relationship with her,
And the way he interacts with the sexy daughter, I'm like, this guy is having continuous affairs on his wife. Like, there is not a moment in his head when he's like, oh, wait, I'm married. He sees her in that courtroom and is like, hey, I want to celebrate this big victory. How do you feel about dinner? It's the spell.
It's because she's a witch and she puts him under a spell.
It is so awesome. Also at this time, I love how Bette Davis is like, yeah, me and your dad, our sex life is pretty great too.
Oh yeah, she makes sure to tell us that. Yeah, our marriage is wonderful on all aspects. Our marriage is so wonderful.
Much better. This is a really good Bette Davis. I can't believe it took us this long to realize that this is the impression for you.
This is it. The Bette Davis.
It's so great. Oh, also at this point, I know we talked about their kid. Watching this movie, Mike. You had no idea they had a child.
Not at first. No. Till someone's taken over Mike's room. I'm like, who's Mike?
Who's Mike? Their roommate?
Is that her brother that lives with them? Who's Mike?
Is that your deadbeat brother that has to live with you and your lawyer husband?
No, Mike is their son, who will be back in about 2 days.
It's just their son. Like, I'm like, where was this kid? Where was he the whole time you guys were on vacation?
He must be away at camp.
Yeah, you didn't trust him or you didn't trust your dad to watch him. And they trusted their dad. They also have a dog.
Oh, yeah. Theodore? No, wait, the dog's got a funny name.
It's a great name. I wrote it down later. It's an amazing name
Jerome.
for a
dog. Jerome.
So awesome.
It's a great name.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, so they're talking. This is when Colleen Camp's like, what a bitch. And Sledgehammer's like, your mom was terrible. And you also hated her. To which I was like, I think her dad has a type. Like, I think her dad has a type that he's into.
Yeah. I like it. She goes through a whole thing because he's like, maybe we need to just accept that, that
he's so forgiving. Yeah. He says like, well, your dad married her and we're just going to have to deal with it. They live with us now.
And she's like, maybe we can poison her.
Immediately. They've been home for a half hour.
And she's
just a half hour.
She's got to get. So she also, they talk about, like you said, her mom and her relationship with her mom, who's since passed. And she looks over at some pictures and says, oh, Mom, I miss you. And the pictures are of Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford.
Now, I heard that was another thing that Bette Davis had a little slight about. Because rude. Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that wasn't put in after she quit. Like a FU to her for quitting. You know what I mean? Like I would be a little bit surprised to know that was like they brought them on set and were like, hey, Bette Davis, check this out.
Yeah.
Like that to me seems like something after the fact. But I loved it.
Yeah.
Like it's really smart. Uh-huh. It's like that photo from the cover of Mommy Dearest. Which, like it's so on the nose and it's so winky, but that's this entire movie. So it totally fits.
Yeah, it certainly does.
So I want to talk about the quick conversation she has with her dad when she goes downstairs to have a heart-to-heart with him. And he talks about their meet cute, how he was, going to the grocery store or whatever. And he just met her. Just walking.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a very interesting story at all.
No.
But he is more excited about the fact that
his hair's growing back.
This is quite the story. Because he just goes off and he's like, I had great hair until I turned 60.
Yeah.
And then between the ages of 60 and 62, all my hair fell out. But now it's growing back. And also the TV reception's pretty great.
And the TV reception, we do see the TV's like really glowing pronounced as he's watching his.
It looks better than the movie I'm watching.
Yeah.
Like, TV looks better than you guys.
It does. Yeah, because he's watching his show Winners and Losers. But yeah, he's...
Oh my God, the game show Winners and Losers.
Wait, the game show...
kind of something that I want to exist. What
about that girl?
This loser did this. Guess who this loser is? And a co-host who licks the faces of the contestants.
She was insane.
And her name was Vanilla.
Vanilla. That was it. Vanilla.
When he constantly has to say, get your hand
out of the money jar, Vanilla. Get your hand out of the money jar, Vanilla.
I like it when she says, oh, what does she say? He's talking about and we'll get there. I don't want to go too far ahead, but when they're on the game show, he talks about one of these losers. Oh, never mind. I'll get there when I get there.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, let's get back to it because this is awesome. So that night, they go to their separate areas of the house to eat.
Well, because the vegetarians eat vegetables. She's like, I thought you loved my corn puree. But the meat is...
it's broccoli.
Oh, it's broccoli puree.
They just have piles of broccoli on their plate.
Yeah, they just have... But they're eating indoors and outside. Yeah. Bette Davis is barbecuing up all this just like literal slabs of meat.
It's awesome.
And
she's grilling it up. I never thought I'd see a movie where an elderly Bette Davis is working a grill. And also the fact that she's just ashing in the grill. At one point throws her cigarette butt into the grill and lights up another one immediately. But you can tell, this is where we start to get the idea that, oh, she might be a witch, because she sits down and looks at the grandfather and goes, you definitely want seconds. And then in a few minutes, he's like, I'll have seconds, please.
You can see she's putting the spell on him. Mm-hmm.
So Sledgehammer is inside and is so intrigued by this meat.
He's lured out by the smell of the delicious cooking meat.
It's like an old cartoon where a hand came in and took its finger and hooked it under his nose and just pulled him out.
Mm-hmm. Right. And he's led into but he doesn't eat any of it. But boy, does it smell.
Smells good.
So good.
I love how he undercuts his wife in this scene because he basically goes out to say, listen, Bette Davis, I apologize for my bitch of a wife. Like, he literally apologizes.
He does it later too for Priscilla. Yes. Like she's just getting a little crazy, and I'm so sorry. Yeah, but
she's out for a bike ride. A bike ride, and the kitchen's on fire. All right, we'll get there. So Jerome. So he goes back inside, and Jerome the dog, great name for a dog again, really hates her because I guess he understands that she's a witch or can turn into a cat. For some reason, he hates her.
Yeah, he's got a doggy sixth sense, you know. She tries to give him the meat. She tries to tempt him with like a little spare rib, and he's not having it. So she plays her own game with Jerome.
So she materializes a cat. We finally see a cat. You're going to have to help me with what's happening here because this is a bunch of disjointed small scenes.
Yeah.
The cat turns into a tiger that attacks the dog who was turned into a rabbit. Why is there suddenly a rabbit?
I don't know where the rabbit... I know the rabbit appears, but I don't know who the rabbit is. I just know that there's then like a feedback of animal noises.
It sounds like the dog has been killed. And later when I see
we see the dog
Jerome's
still.
Not dead.
No, Jerome's not
totally
dead.
Fine.
Jerome just got the shit scared out of him, and I don't know if he was turned into a rabbit or there was a transformation from cat to tiger to rabbit.
Yeah, because
was it all the one animal?
And I don't want to get into the editing of this fine film, but when the cat turns into a tiger, it's like a dissolve from a cat into a tiger.
Right.
And then it shows the dog, and then it's like someone spliced in an image of a rabbit from like a nature show or something. And then, like you said, we just hear a bunch of animal noises.
Yep.
It is awesome. It's awesome. So now we follow Sledgehammer upstairs to his home office.
Yeah.
Where at first I was like, is he a tax guy? I guess they're called accountants.
Yeah.
Because he's complaining about taxes and tax returns. But it turns out he's a lawyer. Right. And he's got a really tough case.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, Miranda, Bette Davis, just appears next to him. And he's like, oh, I didn't even hear you come in. And she's noting that he's very busy with all the things and that he does. And he's like, yeah, I just got this court case. And she decides that she tells him, I would like to see what you do at work. I would like to see. And she's invited herself to court the next day. And he's like, it's kind of boring. And I love it how he's like, she's like, he tells her where it is or something and how to get there.
He writes the address down on a piece of
paper.
But
not like, hey, I mean, I guess he's got work to do. She can't just tag along to work with him. But he's like, you going to be able to make it there? And she's like, oh, I'll make it there just fine. I'll get there. You'll see.
It is really great because he's kind of excited that this old lady's going to come.
Like someone's interested.
Later on, he's like, I
work.
am waiting for someone. I thought she was going to come. Like, this guy's instantly, his old mother-in-law must have been really horrible.
Yeah.
Because he's very excited about this old woman.
He's excited that someone's showing an interest in his work. And now,
let's go to his work.
Let's get to it.
I'm already excited about this movie, and now
this court scene.
I don't know if the movie changes. I don't know if she adds some sort of missing spark to this movie, but this is, again, like, it's bananas, but it gets even crazier now. It gets
even crazier. So we're in court, and he's working with a defendant, I guess, that has
like cheated. Like he's a tax cheat, I guess. And the state's like, we have mountains of evidence.
Right. All this paperwork.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All this paperwork. Mm-hmm. Then they
go to present the paperwork. They go with the big stack of paperwork to say, here, this is what you're going to look through to see all of the evidence. And all of a sudden, go ahead.
It's not bound. You would assume you're going to court, whatever. Listen, I understand this is a lot of paper, but you would at least staple these into
at least in sections. Yeah, right. But they didn't. They were just
they just pile 800 pages on top of each other. And the courtroom doors burst open because this is it. He's going to lose this case. And a beautiful woman who was a Bond girl. I looked her up. She was in a movie with Sean Connery. Mm-hmm. Walks in and brings with her
the gustiest of winds.
All the wind in L.A. because the papers fly everywhere.
Continually fly. Not one big breeze that, whoa! It's like a swirling of...
It's like chaos, too. The people are falling down, trying to grab it, screaming at each other. And the whole time, Sledgehammer is smitten. Like, he is just locking eyes with her. Yeah. He doesn't even know what's happening.
She's just standing there with her. She walks in, I think, and sits down and watches the whole chaos while she's sitting. And the people are chasing papers and handing them to each other. And like you said, just trying to steady themselves against the strong wind. Yes. And then everything dies down. And they go to, and now they're like, what the hell? Because the papers are everywhere and this is our evidence. And then they realize they only have page 6. They have 25,000 copies of only page 6.
Yeah. Because immediately some guy runs in from out of nowhere and is like, well, all our computers are destroyed and all we have is page 6. Uh-huh. And I love how, I'm going to say the state says to the judge, just give us an afternoon. The judge is like, case dismissed, everybody. Let's go party.
Yeah, the judge is like, you've already wasted too much of my time, and now there's a paperwork of a mess here on my courtroom. We're just gonna, the case is dismissed.
Yeah, it's really something. And Sledgehammer won. He walks up to this woman who, she kind of sounds like a vampire, a little bit. Yeah. And he basically says, hey, I've been thinking about cheating on my wife. I think you'll do. How does that sound?
He now has been put under the spell, though. She's a witch.
Yeah.
She's putting them all under her spell. So now he is under the spell of this new young witch who talks to him. And like you said, he's very open. He wants to go to lunch. He does loop around like, oh, wait, I was supposed to meet somebody here. But then right away she says, I have to do something very important out of town for so many days. You won't see me, but I'll return.
All right, she leaves. That's good. Okay, that makes more sense because later on when she's like, well, the airport lost my luggage.
Oh yeah.
Like, wait, he saw you the other day. Are you pretending that you're just arriving? Okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah. She tells him she's got to travel and be out for a little bit, but that she'll be back. Don't worry, you'll see him again. But he's like, well, I thought we were going to lunch. I thought we were going to hang. And she's like, no. I just needed to blow some wind around this courtroom, and I shall return.
I just need to be introduced in this movie early before I take a quick break and then come back to basically head the rest of the movie.
And she does. She does. But we have a little more time with Bette Davis where Michael is home from camp. The young boy is home from camp.
This kid's a jerk. Like,
he's kind of mean to her. Yeah.
Terrible person.
Well, he's just a kid.
I know, he's just a kid, but he's like, shut up, old lady. I'm not going to call you grandma.
Yeah, she's touching his face and she's like rubbing it.
It's pretty aggressive, but she's an old lady. Come on, be nice. And plus, here's the other thing. I understand that we are to believe that they're witches. Well, because they're witches, but also because, we know. This kid doesn't know she's a witch. Can you please, for your grandfather's sake...
Yeah, your grandfather's happy.
Please be nice to this woman.
Yeah.
Can somebody say a kind word to this woman? I know she's the villain of the movie, but you don't know that.
Yeah, but you're right. Besides Grandpa, can somebody like her? Like, can't you just be like, well, at least Grandpa's happy. But now he has to share, because he does end up sharing a room with Grandpa, because she has his room. She's taken over Michael's
Bette Davis
room.
has the kids' room because she needs her own room. And even the mother's like, they're not even sharing a room together. Like,
for all the great sex they have, they don't even share a room.
They live in a mansion. Come on.
Yeah, they do have it for
this
big
kid
house.
And his grandfather don't need to bunk up. There's a guest room in this house.
There should be. But and in the meantime...
Can we go to the beach? Jamie, can we go to the beach?
Well, wait, before
I think that's what happens next. No?
Before we're at the beach, we have to know that she is sick, that Jenny, the daughter, is sick. This is when her allergies start acting up. She is not well, and Grandpa's still watching TV. I love it when the kid is like, why did you marry her, Grandpa? He's like, why not? This is his response.
Listen, when you're that old, why not? Honestly, then that's a good answer.
And then even the kid notices, I think he looks at the top of his grandpa's head and he sees that there's more hair growing in. Like, this hair and grandpa thing is a big deal.
It really is. This movie should have been called Hairy Grandpa.
Grandpa gets his hair back. Now you may proceed to the beach.
I can't believe this is a scene in this movie. We talked about it for patrons only because I think it's the craziest thing that happens in this movie. We cut to a beach, sunny California.
Yeah.
I've said it before. We're never outside in this movie unless we're on the front lawn of their house. Mm-hmm. But we're at the beach. We see this kid wearing a sweatshirt. Sure, I guess it's a chilly day at the beach. And it's just hot babes and hot studs playing volleyball. Yeah. And for some reason, this kid wanders up to these people that are clearly roughly 10 years older than him. And is like, can I play? And these people who are too old to be bullies bully him.
They do. They're not nice to him. And they basically just, they basically like shoo him off the court. Like, they don't want him to be a part of it. And he's got a friend, though. Two friends. Two. He's got one, again, this older girl, blonde girl, that's like, hey, sport, come on over.
Doesn't have a name, right? Like, this
but
is
he
not
seems
a character.
to know her.
He just, they have some sort of relationship, some sort of friendship that's never explored or never explained in this movie.
Meanwhile, Priscilla, our witchy woman from the courtroom, is now on the beach in a witchy long black dress.
Sure.
And looking... Now, it's ironic that she doesn't seduce, although he ends up getting seduced. But she's looking at Michael and just kind of encouraging him, nodding him on with her eyes. Like,
like, you should maybe go play that volleyball game.
Try.
Or do something that involves volleyball equipment. Don't play the game. Don't jump up into a spike. Because even this blonde girl is like, hey, no. Come on, don't do it.
Just leave it.
Do it.
Just leave, yeah.
Yeah, just stay with me. Interesting things might happen. I'm an older woman. I can teach you stuff.
Yeah.
So this kid bolts into this volleyball game and springboards over the net, does a somersault, and then I guess doubles back and runs back to the blonde girl and just sits down.
And they're like...
They're not like, that was amazing.
They're like, he's a freak.
They're like, let's go beat this child up.
Yeah, now, instead of being like, whoa, kid, that was awesome.
Yeah.
They think he's a freak, and now they want to pick on him even more. To which, all of a sudden, Mikey is literally bashing heads at the beach. Like he's taking these other volleyball players and smashing their heads together and rolling. It's like a video game, and punching them and rolling them around and flipping over them and karate chopping them and pushing them off his legs. And Miranda or Priscilla is watching from the sidelines the whole time, just like nodding. And he's like, wow, I didn't even know I could do that. Like I didn't even know I had that in me.
Doesn't come up later. It's not like she gives him superpowers that he'll have through this movie. He never punches another soul in this movie, never gets into a fight. He doesn't come home bragging about this. It's like none of this happened.
No, and he doesn't even see when there even isn't a reaction when I don't even think he sees Priscilla again. Like Priscilla ends up living with them at the house.
Yeah,
and her and him don't interact again. Yeah, that gave me all those powers at the beach. He does walk up to her because after he does all this and kicks some ass at the beach, he walks up to her and he's like, hey, like, I don't even know how I did all that stuff. Yeah. Who are you? Like, he knows that somehow she's related to... And she's like, oh, I'm just a friend of your father's.
Oh, no, Jamie. She says,
oh, no.
I know your daddy.
I
know your daddy.
I know your daddy. That's I know your daddy. I know your daddy.
The amount of times she says daddy in this movie is very upsetting. I don't like it. And then she walks away. And as we were saying
I know your daddy.
I know your daddy. This older woman, this college-age girl, walks up to this 12-year-old and says, I want to show you something, and takes off her jacket and leads him off camera.
Just off camera away.
And that is it. Like, that is it. I was waiting for some insane payoff. Like, I was waiting for the next scene to him to this.
No,
kid
I don't want to see any of that. Yeah.
No. I expected this kid to run in the house and yell like, I got laid.
Oh, right.
Like, that's 100% what I thought was going to happen. But it's as though somebody filmed this and went, well, that's a huge mistake. Yeah. And then someone else slid it back into the movie.
So we'll just leave it in there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're all of a sudden, you're like, wait, what? First this kid's kicking ass. Now he's getting laid. He's all of like 11. What's going on? That's this movie.
But we leave here to go to see Private Detective Richard Mole.
Oh my God.
He's a private detective who I love. He's got no decorations in his office, but he does have the Maltese Falcon statue on his desk. That's the only thing he's got in here. I think he has a map of New Jersey or something on the wall.
Yeah, it is some weird. Yeah, it is. He's very eclectic. A very goofy little character. He tells her
the mother went. Colin Camp went to go see him.
Yes, because she wants to get some dirt. Well, because she feels like there's... she wants some dirt on Miranda, on Bette Davis. Like, how did this woman just appear out of nowhere? Who is she? And can you find out? But she doesn't have a picture of her. She's like, oh, damn, I should have taken a picture. I should have thought of that. And
he's like, really great when he's like, do you have a picture of this woman that you want me to gather information on? Like, you have nothing. And she's like, oh, yeah, picture, I forgot. And he's like, well, it'll cost you a little more, but I can.
Yeah, but we'll add it. And she's like, do you want to use my camera?
It's a really weird interaction.
Yeah, what about when he tells her, he's like, well, we'll have to come up because I'll be at your house and I'll be spying, so we'll come up with a password of some kind. I'll say, clog up the toilet is his password.
Well, I didn't even think it was that, because I thought he said, I'm going to pose as a plumber to come into to get into your house.
Okay.
So I need you to clog up the toilet.
Oh, that's what it was. I thought it was okay.
And then after this, she's like, "Well, then am I gonna have to call a plumber to unclog my toilet?" And he's like, "No, I actually studied plumbing. I'm pretty good
I was
plumber.
a plumber before. Yeah, that's it. You're right.
And she is any normal person meeting this man would be like, maybe I'll go see a different private detective. And she seems exasperated and is basically like, you got the job.
Yeah. And he's stoked. He's ready.
So now we cut from an insane scene at the beach to now we're introducing Richard Mole into this.
Right.
Now we cut to the grandfather sleeping, reciting historical facts. And
he's got all the answers. He's reciting his answers to all of his questions for the game show in his sleep. He's just saying them.
It's this, and the son's like, "What's happening?" You can physically see his hair growing on his head. It's pretty awesome. So now we cut to Sledgehammer and Colleen Camp in bed,
right?
And she's so allergized. I get cat allergies so bad, like to this degree. I always like it when I see people in movies doing this because I'm like, she's not
That's
overacting.
Exactly
That's
how
what
it feels.
It's like.
When she starts to freak out because her upper lip is itchy, though.
Yep.
Which I know is a thing. I have a cat allergy too, and I know all of that happens.
It's the worst. I like it when he tries to get a little frisky with her.
Yeah.
And she sneezes.
She sneezes right on him.
And he says, maybe you should take some aspirin.
Yeah.
That's not how you cure allergies. That's not how you suppress them. That's a line somebody wrote in this movie, and everyone went, yep, sounds about right. Let's have him say this. And she's freaking out because she knows there's a cat in the house.
She's convinced that this is an allergy from a cat, and she already doesn't trust Miranda, so she's pretty sure it's Miranda that brought the cat in, so she's going to do a little investigation on her own.
Yes.
To find the hidden cat. So she...
I have a question for you, because I wrote this down as a silly line, and then the more I thought about it, I went, oh, I'll bet this is a real thing. Because Sledgehammer goes, hon, I'll call an exterminator tomorrow. And I thought, I've never heard of exterminators removing cats from people's homes before, but I guess they would do that?
I don't know. Maybe if they were like the feral, like outdoor cats that... Yeah. Or maybe he just said it like, if there's an animal causing you some kind of, problem, we'll call the exterminator in the morning.
Yeah. He already told her to take aspirin. He's like, whatever I say now doesn't matter.
Right. I just need you. We just need to sleep at this point. But she crawls out onto
Talk about what she's doing
here,
because she should be dead after this.
She crawls out onto the roof looking for the cat, and she can see inside Bette Davis's window and can see that she's smoking a cigarette, right?
Yeah, of course.
And there's a cat in there.
Yes.
But
speaking of cat, I think my dog wants to come down. I can hear him pawing at the basement door. Hold on one second.
He's like, invite him in. You bring your cat in. Your cat's here now. I mean, your dog.
Yeah, it's a dog. I'm allergic to cats. Really bad, too. Near the end of my grandmother's life, she started getting cats.
Oh, yeah.
And, I couldn't, when I would go to visit her, I couldn't stay in the house for more than, 10 minutes at a time. It was, and my eyes would just water. My eyes would almost swell shut. Yeah. It was rough.
Yeah. Well, I think it's even harder, too. Grandmas don't clean as well as they could have, and that cat hair tends to get everywhere.
Sure.
And if it's not taken care of right away, it makes the allergies just... it's... I know. Take an aspirin next time.
I know. You know what? I never even thought of doing that.
But no, she scales the roof, she sees the cat, and then somehow she falls backwards. I think
the cat scares her. The cat jumps
that's what it is. Okay.
Onto the windowsill, and she falls onto the roof of the car,
backwards,
shattering the windshield of this car.
She's serious back injury.
Oh, my back kind of hurts a little bit.
But then who's there? Who peeks out and is like, "Oh, hey, it's you." He
jumps up and takes 45 pictures of her in the face and then goes, "Oh, it's you." It's the private detective who then does Jimmy the lock to get her back in her house.
Yes.
And it is a fun, so much of this movie is, I don't know how intentionally silly or funny most of this is. But every now and then they'll have a gag like this where he does Jimmy the Lock, and she's like, well, you're good for something. And then goes inside, and the whole doorknob falls off and everything. It's like,
oh, yeah.
And that does happen from time to time. I'm glad that's not the whole movie.
But when it happens,
it's a fun sort of change of pace.
Yeah. Well, now that she's back in the house, she's pissed. She goes up into Bette Davis's room and is like, she makes her husband, she's like, come on, we're getting in there. We're going in. We're going to get the cat out. The cat's in there.
Jamie, did you write this line down? Because if you did, I want you to read it as though you are Bette Davis.
Okay,
this had me laughing. I was alone watching this movie, and I laughed out loud when Bette Davis said what she said.
So they walk in, and she's tyrantly in there, like, all right, we're in here to find the cat. And the husband is right behind her and a sledgehammer. And he's like, I'm so sorry that we're in here. I'm sorry for interrupting you. And she's like, I'm sorry if we woke you up. You didn't wake me up. I was reading a sexy novel. I didn't say that very Davis.
It's so great. Mm-hmm. It is such an amazingly hilarious line. I can't believe everybody in the room didn't break character and laugh. I couldn't believe I was like watching this screen legend say I was reading a sexy novel. So awesome. I loved it.
And in the meantime, the daughter or the wife starts going, here, kitty, 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 here, kitty, 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 all around her room looking for this cat.
She's under the bed. She's opening the cabinets. Like it really is something.
Mm-hmm. And then Bette Davis mentions, my daughter Priscilla. Oh, you're going to love her. I've invited her to come over. And because there's a doorbell ring. That's right. The doorbell rings.
Right.
And they're like, who could that be? And she says, it's my daughter Priscilla. I wrote to her to come.
Yes.
And you're going to love her.
And thankfully, Bette Davis got to say, I was reading a sexy novel because goodbye, Bette Davis. You're out of this movie.
That's all for Betty. Because now Priscilla is here at the front door. She does at times do both voices. Priscilla can be both. At the top of the stairs where she is in view of them. Like this is what I could not believe this was happening, because she walks in and talks about her luggage and everything, and it's like, oh, it's fine, I'll just go up to my room and I'll talk to my mom. They're watching her walk up the steps. She gets to the landing. I imagine they can still see her. Yeah, I thought so too. She greets the cat.
Calls it mommy, and then proceeds to talk to the cat as though she's talking to her mom, do her mom's voice, all while looking down the steps like, I am totally faking these two out that are watching me do this. It's so strange. Oh, and then we cut to the father and his new haircut, asking if he looks like Hitler.
That was great. Am I parting this hair right, or does it look like Hitler? Like Hitler's part.
That's it. And I think Colleen Campus would be like, no, you don't look like Hitler. We're done. Let's go back to the police department. Like, it's such a weird little scene.
Well, no, she comes out now, and this is when she's got not only the stuffy nose, but she's got the neck brace on. She's a hot mess.
Yeah, she fell off the roof onto a car, which is never remarked upon. That windshield is shattered by her head, I think.
By her back, by the
like compressed.
Powerful,
It's like she fell off a 60-story building and smashed out a car.
And now still has her cat allergy. And Priscilla's walking around the one room with her and is like, this room, we need to redecorate this whole room. Like, I'm an interior designer.
It screams wallpaper. Yeah. They do have one room that is just giant leaf wallpaper.
Yeah.
It's just big green tropical leaves. It's kind of cool.
It's kind of you like that. You like it. Priscilla does mention that Mummy is in San Francisco. So Mummy's gone to San Francisco.
Mummy's in San Francisco.
So that we know
I'm friends with your daddy.
Daddy. We won't expect to see any more of her because she's in San Francisco.
Doing what? Just ask the follow-up question. Doing what? Why is she there?
Well, later she's told because she was uncomfortable. At least that's what she tells her husband.
Right, that's what she tells Sledgehammer. characters drop in and out of this movie, and I understand Bette Davis quit. If you told me the son in this movie quit and they had to drag him back to film another scene or two, I wouldn't be surprised, because this kid's gone out of this movie for most of it.
Yeah, until he resurfaces at the very end. But now, okay, so now we're back with the cop at the precinct, right?
I have so many questions about his boss. So Tom Bosley's in trouble because his boss finds out that $750 or whatever of the police department's funds went to Tom Bosley enrolling in witch school so that he could do a deeper investigation about a witch that turned these people into tiny, action figure sized people. To which his boss says, hand in your gun and badge.
Yeah, well, he tells him you're suspended. You are suspended. Not fired. He's suspended for right now.
Instantly suspended.
But then, what does he take out of his own desk?
What is this?
Another rando, another pineapple moment, right?
It's like the director was like, you know what? I could branch this off into a TV series. Maybe we introduce that girl on the beach. This guy's into voodoo. I don't know. Maybe it would be picked up by a TV show or a network, and I could make a series out of this. Because as Tom Bosley leaves,
the police chief
opens a desk drawer and pulls out a voodoo doll and sticks a pin in it. To which nothing happens.
We don't know to who.
I have no idea.
I don't know. But that's that.
That's it?
That's that.
That's that. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Almost as amazing as what happens next in the kitchen.
Yeah. Question for you. How many days have passed since the last scene? Because I thought it was just later that morning. But now she doesn't have a neck brace on and she's bike riding. We saw her in the last scene. She had a neck brace on. Now, later that same day, because I think...
She probably took an aspirin.
I think the witch is wearing the same clothes.
She is. I think she is. I love this. She's in the kitchen. Priscilla is in the kitchen kind of making herself at home.
Yeah.
And she finds the broom, which she gyrates on for a moment, like, oh, broom, yes.
Just for a moment. And then talks to the cat and goes, I'm not taking this thing for a spin or whatever she says.
No, you think they thought the broom would work if they had kept Bette Davis in the movie? Do you think that they were going to make Bette Davis gyrate on that broom like that?
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay, wait a second. I said this was a great movie, and now I'm starting to think maybe if she hadn't left, it would be better. Because I would watch that.
I don't know. But she does this little moment with the broom as if and then the cat is smoking. Right? This is
the cat's smoking in the kitchen, and then she just starts trashing the kitchen for I think funsies.
I think she's just churning her powers. Yeah, she's just
It really is we really didn't get to see Bette Davis flex her witchy muscles other than maybe making a lion, whatever, eat
an animal
dog, but not really. I don't know. But yeah, she's just pointing at things. Dishes are flying around. The sink's squirting out black sludge.
Oh, yeah.
The oven's on fire.
Yeah. I love it because
does it all.
The grandpa walks in I'm looking for lunch. Dishes are flying around him, but he's in such a daze, right? Because he's under such a spell. He's just is lunch almost ready? For breakfast almost ready? And yeah.
Also at this time, Private Detective is out front.
Right.
Trimming the bushes.
He's pretending to be the new gardener.
There's a lot of Asian accents being thrown around at this point in the movie.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty bad when Sledgehammer's like, hey, where's something, whatever, Nakamoto or something. He has to say, I'm his cousin or whatever. It's really crazy. And also in this scene, I guess right after she trashes the kitchen, she goes out and starts doing sexy dances.
Oh my God, she goes out. She goes out the front door. And again, the little bit of wind kicks up, and she's just dancing and gyrating it. And she's dancing basically.
Huffing the poles, the big pillars of the house.
But she's doing it all for the detective, who is now fucking up the bushes because he's so busy watching her. Yep. And she's just doing this, like you said. She's just kind of dirty dancing for him for a little bit.
It's awesome.
And he chops the bushes all haphazardly, and then she goes back inside.
She just walks back in. And he then leaves.
So random.
Like,
it's
I don't
so
know what
random.
he's doing. He just then gets in his truck and leaves, to which the
real gardener shows up and is like, what?
Wow. Okay, wait. Hold on. Before the real gardener gets there, because this... Oh, did you hear that? Somebody dropped something upstairs.
Oh.
Before the real gardener gets here, Sledgehammer walks into the kitchen and starts freaking out. And his go-to, he looks at his kitchen and goes to street gangs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Busted in their house and made this huge mess. Like, literally, there's black sludge coming out of the kitchen sink. The oven's on fire. Everything just looks like looks like a bomb hit it.
Street gangs, and then he goes, no, but it's terrorists. Now he goes outside and fights with the real gardener because his bushes are a mess. Mm-hmm. And then his own dog attacks him and kind of rips his pants off.
Oh, yeah.
Because now he goes into the kitchen. Mm-hmm. The maid tells him, not the maid, sorry, she's dressed as a maid.
Oh, right. Well, in the movie. And she's exasperated because she puts on this show
all day.
Yes.
Yeah.
She plays up like the wife Jenny left her with this mess to clean up, blamed her for the mess, and she's just been trying to clean it all day, like you said. He's like, and then he's like, "What? She's been out bike riding all day and just left you with this."
She does nothing. She goes out and bike rides, and also my pants are ripped. And I like how she's like, "I can fix your pants for you. I know how to sew." He's like, "My wife can't sew. She can't do anything."
Yeah.
I like how later when he's like, "I wish my wife dressed like you." I was like, "Come on, man. Don't say that."
I wish she wore outfits like that, yeah. Oh, wait. Sorry. I'm still at dancing at the front door. We've moved on from there.
But that's because then they're fighting. Well, Jenny gets home and is freaking out about the kitchen, too.
Oh,
but
she freaks out about her bushes in her front yard.
Right,
because she rides up on her bike and she's just like, my bushes. And then he's inside with his pants off. Oh, she tells him to, you have beautiful legs for a man.
For a man. To which because he's so angry, and then he, just for a second, he's like, oh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But again, great reaction. Sledgehammer is doing a great job.
Well, even better reaction is when Jenny sees her kitchen and the many reactions her face has. She goes from a to a
It's a reaction acting clinic she's putting on here. It's just any reaction. It's like, give me all you got.
Yeah.
You are shocked. You are confused.
You're scared.
You're scared of this.
You're angry. You're upset.
It really is. She is doing everything in this movie. She
does it all. So much energy had to go into this role because she
really
is
everything.
She just turned up.
Yeah.
And now they have a fight. I wrote fight.
They fight in front of Miranda. No, Miranda's the elderly
Priscilla.
woman. Priscilla. Yeah, they fight in front of her, and she's like, "Oh, I feel so bad that you do a fighting. It's so bad. I feel so bad." And then they go their separate way. Smash cut to kitchen looks great. It's immaculate. Everything's fine again. And now she's making some sort of witch's
Now she's got her cauldron out. Yeah, the broom is in the closet, and the cauldron's out. She's cooking something up.
Yeah. What? We'll never know. It's never paid off.
I think maybe it's part of the potion that helps him with the grandpa with all his knowledge.
Or his hair loss. Anyway, there's all sorts of, I mean, I would like to think that the knowledge is a side effect of hair gain.
Maybe.
That's it. Now, Jamie, in a movie of confusing scenes that go nowhere and make little sense, but also make me laugh, here's another one.
The phone booth.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, now it's time to fire the detective because he ruined her bushes.
Yes.
And And I guess he's proven himself unworthy otherwise.
Right.
So, but she goes to...
He did manage to get a picture. I think he just wanted to take a picture of her because she was sexy dancing. Like, that is clearly not the woman that he's supposed to be taking a picture of. Right. But he takes a picture of her. So that's. But
the picture comes out of Bette Davis. So he takes a picture of Priscilla, the younger daughter. But when he develops it, it's Bette Davis. Does he give it to her yet? I don't think so. I don't think that big reveal is there yet.
Now they're just talking on the phone in the phone booth.
She goes to a phone booth to call. This is the second. So besides the girl at the beach, this is the second weird, crazy, creepy character that is just like makes quite the mark on this movie.
Yeah.
So she comes out of the phone booth after firing him, and this creepy homeless guy comes up to her and is like, go ahead. What does he say?
I didn't write it down. Do you have it written down?
He says he slept in the phone booth.
It's so creepy.
And asks her for some money, and then she gives him $5, and he says he's mean. What is she? He says something about her being mean, but can he caress her?
Yeah. It is such a bizarre, because he comes up behind her.
Yeah.
She never looks at him, and he's looking at us. The viewers, and he's like, lady, give me money. I slept in that phone booth last night, all night long. And then, she gives him $5, and he's like, you're cheap. Can I hold you? Can I just hold you? To which she's like, nope, I gotta go in this occult bookstore. Where that bookstore is just an information dump, because she just randomly finds out everything she needs to know about these witches.
Yeah, this is a cute little So the one thing is she sees a woman with the kind of the orange hair that she thinks is Bette Davis, but it's an Asian woman just walking around with a short haircut like Bette Davis. And then they're in front of the mural. It's a mural in LA of Bette Davis.
Bette Davis.
Which is a young Bette Davis.
I'm seeing her everywhere. And of course, she looks in the building. So she goes in this occult bookstore, and the guy's talking to her about books, and she's like, well, I need books on witchcraft. And he's like, well, we have a lot of books on witchcraft. And she's like, well, do you have any books specifically about witches from this area throughout history?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you know what? I actually have
a giant book on it.
Right here. It's a big leather-bound book. Let's all take a look together. While this is happening, Grandpa and Priscilla.
Before she goes in the bookstore, she meets up with the detective.
Oh yeah. This is when he gives her the
gets a ticket for jaywalking.
That's why he was late. Yeah, ticket for jaywalking.
And that's when he gives her the picture. And so now she's got the picture in hand of this woman that was photographed as one person but appeared as another. And so she goes into the witchcraft store. An insanely bad photoshopping of Bette Davis's head onto this woman's body. It was just giant Bette Davis's head, or Bette Davis's giant head is what you see.
It looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Colleen Camp is not like, holy shit, I can't believe she's the same person or something like that. Her response is, you're really bad at taking photos. That's it.
But no, she does put it together. She's beginning to realize. I've never seen them together now that I think about it.
Now that you think about it, you're 3 days into this new life of yours. How long have you had to think about it?
Well, it's been very active 3 days.
Yeah, it really has.
But then she goes into the witch's shop. She looks at the big information. Gets a lot of information. In the meantime, there are some spells conjuring up. Like you said, Priscilla had the cauldron going in the kitchen. Now she's like waking up the earth beneath the house, and the grass is shaking.
There's a lot of roots.
Moving around.
This movie just turns into roots attacking people.
But that's later on. But now it's time. It's time to convince the grandfather that he's got all the information out in his head. Yes. He should go try out to be on one of these TV shows. To which he's obviously like, "Sure, let's go, let's do it. I'm ready."
Whatever.
Now they have to convince.
has she done this already where he's like, you really remind me of Miranda, and she's like, I am Miranda.
Oh yeah, she just tells him straight up, and he's like,
awesome.
Yeah.
He's just like, all right, cool. He's like younger,
darling.
Hot wife.
Yeah.
All right, that's totally fine with me.
This makes it even better.
And that's my confusion with this movie. They're not the same person because they seem to dislike each other late in this movie. But are they the same person, or do they just have to swap in and out of this cat? They're not really related, right?
From
I
the
don't understand
witchcraft
the
movie, or from what we learned in the witchcraft class, I
You're
thought
like,
she says that
practical magic. I picked up.
Well, no, in the class, doesn't she say like, well, then the second, like, Bette Davis's energy, soul, whatever, has to go somewhere, so it goes into the cat while they use the body of Priscilla. And that's Priscilla, and then Priscilla's, I don't know.
I heard the same thing you did, and it didn't make any sense.
I don't think in a movie like this it's supposed to.
You would think. Yeah. You would think they'd explain it, but they don't.
No need.
So Grandpa goes onto this game show. Priscilla takes him downtown. She's like, hey, I'm going to walk you in there tomorrow. It's going to be the greatest, and I'll just get you on the show. Don't worry about it. They'll put you on. And they walk into, I'm going to say a TV studio, but really it's just like two interns working the desk.
Well, yes, the security before they get into the studio. And they're like, again, she's like, he's here to be on the show. And they're like, no, he's not. And she works her spell magic.
Yep.
And he has been given the power to know the answers to everything. So when a call comes in to security that has nothing to do with them, he's even answering the question from the caller.
Yes.
And they're kind of like, what the hell? What is this? When did they say that? Oh, because these are my next chunk of notes. Yeah. I'm going to go home and watch the show for the children. We have great sex. Here's the makeup. Where's the makeup person upstairs screwing the assistant? But I remember when all of this happened.
It's all talking to the producer of the show and everything like that. And she's like, this guy, he's great. He knows everything.
Well, and they get him right in.
Because she witches her way in
to
be on the show.
And right into the producer. And the producer, of course, is kind of swooned by her and is like, why don't you stay? You could be in the front.
With no reaction, just a stupid smile on his face.
Yeah.
The grandfather's like, that's my wife. We have really great sex. Yeah. And the producer doesn't even look over like, oh, wow. No, he's just watching her walk away. He's so into it.
And
that's when he yells, like, where's the writer or whatever. Yeah. And the grandpa looks at him and goes, he's upstairs having sex with the
because he knows all the answers.
Whatever. Yes.
Priscilla does excuse herself, though. She refuses to be on the TV. No, and this is, I think she says, I'm going to go home and watch the show for the children. For the children.
Yeah, for the children. What does that mean?
I think it's their children if she's like Bette Davis, and then they consider his kids their kids, so it's for the children.
It's not with the children.
No, it's for the children. For the children.
And now let's talk about this game show.
Okay.
Winners
and losers is what it's called. Winners
and losers. It is awesome. This game show host, wildly disheveled. This guy does not. He's flubbing lines and he's just getting through his part, and they used all of it.
Yeah. They have a wheel of questions. And as you mentioned, there's his assistant, the wheel spinner, Vanilla.
Yeah. Yes.
Which
is like a Vanna White-ish person.
Yeah, sure, totally.
But her job appears to just be spinning this wheel, which I love how she spins it. The wheel barely moves. And the guy goes, great spin, Vanilla. Yeah. And then later yells at her because they have a fishbowl full of money that she keeps
trying to get her grubby hands on the cash. And he's like, Vanilla, get your hands out of the fishbowl. Vanilla, stop touching the money.
And they're reading questions about winners and losers.
I love it. And they call it like, so name the losers who one died alone and one died with a social disease.
Yes.
And the answers are Van Gogh and Coco.
But when he reads this, the one thing he says is, one died in poverty.
Oh, that's
to
it.
Which Vanilla goes, ugh, I hate poverty. It's really awesome. These two are so great. And also, every time the grandfather gets a question right, Vanilla first starts by going over and kissing him.
Oh, yeah.
Then she
licks him.
Licking his face. To which every time the host has to be like, come on, Vanilla. Come on.
Back it up. Back it up, Vanilla. Back it up. He's got all the answers, the grandpa, that he'll look at the other lady that's there with him and is so like, did you want to answer? Did you want to try? You haven't gotten any. Do you want to try this one? I'll give you a clue.
Like, I'll give you a hint. This poor lady doesn't know anything. He knows everything. The show ends.
He even knows the question before it comes into his hand. Yeah.
Yes. It's awesome. But it ends with him winning, and Vanilla then straddles him, like sits on the little podium, and is like, she like flops herself backwards and is still like all like rubbing his full head of hair. I get it.
It's beautiful.
And making out with it's an awesome game show. This show, I would watch this all the time.
Yeah. Winners and losers. It's pretty great.
And the family's also watching this. Like, they're amazed. Mm-hmm. It keeps cutting back to them being like, and it's really just Sledgehammer and the son that we haven't seen for a very long time. Yeah. And the witch. The mom's not around watching this.
She comes home at one point and they're like, aren't you excited? And she's like, I'm scared actually. Because she's not. Because she found out when she's at the bookstore and did her research, they found out that there's this witch that likes to make families richer or likes to make the guy richer and then kills him.
And then kills him. I'm going to say kills him in quotes because the one family was shrunk down and put in a shoebox.
True.
Later on, she's like, I won't turn him into a toad till later. So I was like, I don't know if she's really killing these people. I mean, it's not good what she's doing.
No, okay, you're right. But she's not, she's changing transforming them in some way. Some witchy way. Is this when we cut to a scene in the kitchen of Colleen Camp with an old-timey water bucket? Yes.
It's like a wooden water bucket, like with slats of wood on the sides.
And she throws the water on Priscilla.
Yes. To which Priscilla pretends to be the Wicked Witch. It's kind of fun.
She starts to go, I'm melting. And then she says, ha ha ha, like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah, because it's really like the jig is up. This lady knows I'm a witch, so I'm going to lean into this. And she totally does. It's awesome. She gets all wet, I guess, and has to change into, I'm going to say, an even sexier outfit.
Yeah.
To then try and seduce Sledgehammer while Jenny's in therapy.
Yeah.
That's just dropped in. Oh, she's at her therapist. She'll be gone for a while.
Yeah.
And so I don't even quite understand. Listen, the sexual energy of Sledgehammer is undeniable.
Sure.
But I don't quite, other than that, I don't quite understand why she's all over him. Like, he's not the grandfather, or is she just really attracted to him? Like, I don't quite understand what she's doing
I
here.
think it's just part of the witchiness, right? So she can get any guy she wants, and Michael's too young and he's already hooked up with the beach girl. And
they're already engaged.
Yeah, so she's just using her powers to just seduce all.
All right.
Now we should note that Jenny is not really at the therapist. No. She is actually in her witchcraft where there's a bunch of witches together and they're just like, keep murmuring.
They're just walking down
murmuring and chanting
stairs with candles.
With candles and incense. Keep murmuring.
Oh, it's so much. It's when that is revealed, I was like, are they in their house? Are there more?
No, they're at the witch lair getting and then I love the conversation because the cop's there and they talk about timeshares for a minute.
Wait, hold on. You're getting just a little bit ahead because we do Well, we cut back and forth between that and sexy time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because then sex is happening, and not only is it sexy, there's lights, there's like
there's lights
in the room, and the bed all of a sudden folds out. The couch folds out into a bed.
I do like how the couch magically, like the cushions fly off of it, and the bed unfolds, and they just kind of like fall into it, and everyone's into it. But what happens, is this because of what they're doing at the witch school? Or is she just turned to a cat when she's really turned on?
Well, it's weird because then she says something as if the cat,
as if the cat did it.
Yes. As if Bette Davis is messing with her somehow.
Right. Yeah, which doesn't make any sense. It's not like we see the cat sitting... But looking jealous at the two of them or something.
What we do see is them kind of getting it on, all sexy like, and then all of a sudden you see a giant tail whipping back and forth, which he sees.
It's enormous. It's flopping all over this place.
And he sees it too, and it freaks him out, and he kind of stops, and he's like, sorry, it might be that I'm distracted because I'm thinking about my wife and that this is wrong. Did you just have a tail?
Yeah.
He even says
first of all, Jamie, I think it's important to say Sledgehammer never says he was thinking about his wife or that this is wrong. He never says anything like that.
He does. He says,
really?
Yeah.
All right. I just thought it was, do you have a tail? And he was freaked out, and that's why it ended. Okay.
No, I think he's trying to say I don't know what happened. I think I was just nervous because this is also,
Yeah. So now... I think it's important to talk about the fact that they're just hanging out at witch school. And this is witch school because I kind of, strangely enough, forgot Tom Bosley was in this movie. But now we see him
now he's here learning about
potions at witch school. And the head witch, because the other witches, they're just trying to learn. They're just trying to learn their witch stuff.
Yeah.
And Colin Camp and Tom Bosley can't shut up about this. No. Tom Bosley's even like, hey, I got a composite sketch of this woman. Does she look familiar to you?
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, that's the lady in my house. That's Miranda. To which finally the head witch of this school is like, did you say Miranda? Because I got a few things to tell you about this. And she explains the whole cat stuff. Mm-hmm. And I guess
the cat's the vessel.
Yeah, sort of tells them how to, and this is all off screen, but I guess tells them how to take care of this witch. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. So now, Colin Camp decides to play this up. It's a big ruse as though she is leaving.
Well, now they have a plan. Yeah, she's going to go away, and the cab is going to come pick her up. Mm-hmm.
And cab driver Tom Bosley.
Yep.
Is like, hey, did you kill her yet? She's like, no. He's like, well, you better get to it. So she hid a bunch of witchy stuff in the piano.
Oh, yeah. She's got a mat and the incense and some spells and a little cauldron itself. Yeah.
There's a lot happening. Also, the PI calls the house pretending to be a vet.
Oh, yes. That says he's going to... Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to take the cat away to get the cat fixed. To which Priscilla's like, oh, you bitch.
Yeah.
You want to get me fixed, do you? And I'm like, you're not the cat right now. Bette Davis is the cat.
But eventually she has to go back to being the cat,
she'd be the cat. I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. She is infuriated by this.
Yeah, she's like, fixed? What? Yeah.
It doesn't really go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And also she makes reference to be like, boy, I let you out of that cat the other day, and this is how you repay me. To where I was like, is that a deleted scene? Because I have not seen Bette Davis in a very long time in this movie. So Tom Bosley and the mom decide, like, we're going to do witchy stuff, and we're going to totally get rid of this woman. I'm glad we learned all that stuff at witch school, I guess. And I love it how he's like, do you remember the rhyme? And she goes, spells, do your stuff. Yeah. Like, that does not sound right. I'm sorry. And then she literally stands in front of the witch and goes, showdown.
And she goes, away.
Yep. Away.
And then wait, her other one is iskabob, iskabibble. Iskabab.
Later on when she says, Iskabab doodle doddle, and then the grandfather goes, that's Babylonian. I was like, I will put money down that that's not Babylonian.
Oh my God, it's great. But yeah, it's
amazing.
She stands between them, and now the battle is on, right?
Oh, they have a big, silly witch battle with pianos flying out of the house into pools. And again, like, there's gotta be dialogue missing, because at one point Priscilla just goes, you want your piano back, don't you? And it just flies in. And I was like, what? Nobody talked about a piano. Nobody mentioned a piano. It is awesome. And they're just doing witchy battle. They're both glowing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, at one point she gets a little
red.
Yeah, she gets a little they are both glowing. Literally the house is divided, like it's dividing between them. At one point the daughter gets a little sad. She goes, I'm just a second-rate sorcerer. Because she can't quite, she's only been doing this a couple hours, really.
Learned this last night.
And then Miranda even says that, or Priscilla even says that, like, I am, you're no match for me.
She's a witch that's been around for a question mark amount of time. I do like it when she talks both as her and then Bette Davis and goes back and forth. That's kind of super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite the battle. But then,
like I said, most of what we see are root attacks. There's giant roots.
Oh yeah, she gets held down by the roots.
Yep.
He goes into to help. The son shows up too. I think that even the detective is there to see part of this whole
shows up too.
Is the gardener still there?
He's probably trying to fix those hedges.
The real gardener is still there too.
He doesn't have time to pay attention to this. He's like,
he's just trying to get those hedges fixed.
Also, my employer assaulted me, but I will still make sure these
committed to strong work here.
The grandfather shows up, and he's like, hey, again, this guy has not done anything but smile through this entire movie. Like, that's the only expression he's got, and he totally has it here too, when he's like, yeah, I know everything. I know of the final spell that you need to do to defeat this woman.
And it's the Ishkabibble spell.
Yes.
Dirty Babylonian.
Yeah.
And then it gets crazy.
When she says, I've never talked dirty in Babylonian before, I was like, all right, that's a pretty funny line. Like, I kind of enjoyed that.
Then
she, like, Priscilla falls down, and then there's, like,
her head spins around.
Yeah. This is kind of scary, because then every now and then it'll stop, and she's wearing, like, a monster mask, and it's kind of frightening, actually.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
But then, I guess what ends up happening is then both witches end up trapped in the cat.
Now it's just the cat, yeah.
And also the cat's incredibly docile, because Colin Cape just picks it up and hands it to the cop and is like, here's your evidence. I don't know, lock him up downtown.
And he does. First he starts to read him his rights, and then he's like, oh, come on, you're just a cat.
Yeah, he says, oh, sue me. Yeah. Love it. Great. Yeah. I just needed her to be like, if they do, I know a good lawyer. And then freeze frame. But that's not how this movie ends. What happened. It ends even crazier than that.
Oh, this ending.
Because we're done with this family. Goodbye.
Yeah.
As we started this movie with Tom Bosley, we're going to end it with Tom Bosley.
Driving a cat in his cab, because mind you, he doesn't have his police car. He's in his cab because of the little act they were putting on.
Yeah.
But he's driving to take the cat, presumably, down to the precinct and do tell.
And begins to shrink. The cab, he, and the cat, which seems counterproductive. I guess the cat put a spell on him, so he shrinks down to like Matchbox cars.
Well, while he's on the road, so there's other cars driving around him, and he's slowly shrinking, and his voice is slowly getting more chipmunky. Yeah,
it's really fun.
Yep.
He drives. At one point, he says, "Does this mean there's going to be a sequel?"
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, Tom Bosley.
I looked it up. There is no sequel.
I'm afraid there was no sequel, and then. As if I'm not confused already. Jamie, do not tell me you stopped this movie.
Oh, I just wrote cast of players. Oh, yeah, when we see all the cast of players.
But the best part is, just because he was driving a cab, the words "the end" come up. Designed like a taxi cab. And then we hear, I skimmed through to the end real quick. I just like skimmed through, and then I saw the cast of characters, and I was like, oh my God, are these bloopers? Am I going to see a Bette Davis blooper at the end of this? But no. We get audio of somebody saying, let's present our cast of characters, and proceeds to read the names of everyone in this movie.
Pretty great.
And that's it. That's how it ends.
Pretty great.
That's how Wicked Stepmother.
That's Wicked Stepmother.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Jamie, I got to ask you, what do you think?
I loved it. I said it, but I think we were recording for patrons only.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it before. It felt very familiar. And if I didn't, it felt all too familiar.
You're like, I dreamed it before,
yeah,
I guess. I wanted this movie to be made.
I don't remember the name of it, but there were so many scenes, the voices, that all just seemed like I knew it.
Wow.
And wow. I think I enjoyed it then because it was so silly. And even now, it's just silly. It's fun. It's random. It's goofy. It moves pretty quickly because there's just so much randomness.
If you're not pausing it every 10 minutes to take notes,
kept
like
pausing,
I did,
yeah.
Like this thing's gonna fly by. If you're just watching it, and first of all, I will say, if you get 20 minutes in and you don't like it, guess what? It's not your jam. Maybe finish it.
Maybe it's not yours.
But I would be very surprised if 2 minutes in you're not on board.
Just to see what this ride's about. Yeah.
Just to see what the next crazy bit of nonsense is going to be in this movie. I loved this. Like I was amazed at how enjoyable this movie was. I thought it was going to be dumb. It is.
It's silly, yeah.
But boy, I really enjoyed this. I don't know what else to say.
Do you have a recommendation?
Laura, thank you. First of all, before I get into my recommendation, Laura, thank you. Great choice.
Yeah,
super exciting.
I agree. Yeah. Good job, Laura.
I do. I'm going to recommend a movie from 2021 called Hellbender. Ooh. It's a small movie. Mm-hmm. It's only got maybe 4 or 5 people in it. It's about a mother and daughter who kind of live in the middle of nowhere. And the mother will not let the daughter near people because she's like, the daughter's sick. And if you're near people, you can get sick and then, you'll die. Like you have a pretty horrible disease. Mm-hmm. As the daughter gets into her teens, she meets some kids that are roughly her age and wants to hang out with them and realizes, hey, nothing bad is happening. What's my mom trying to keep from me? Okay. And you soon find out that the mom is a witch and her daughter's a witch but doesn't know it. And she's trying to keep her away from people. And it's a very trippy movie. Because when they drink blood, it's almost like dropping acid.
Oh.
So, like, she teaches her little by little. She's like, eat this spider. And it's like a pretty good trip. And then she eats a bird. And it's like more intense from that. It's a really good movie. It's a really good movie that gets super crazy. But it's a small, really, really nice, kind of scary movie at times. So,
all right, it sounds like it is. I wish I thought of a good witchy movie to recommend. My first instinct was to say, I recommend to watch this again, to include this, like I said earlier, in your Halloween holiday.
Rotation.
Yeah, keep it in your fall rotation. It's super fun, super light. But then I thought a little bit, and I think I might have recommended this, but it was a while ago. In 2017, FX came out with a little mini series or mini docu-series, I guess is what they call it, Feud. It was based off of the feud between Joan Crawford and Bette Davis.
Oh, yeah.
With Susan Sarandon and Jessica Lange. Lang. It's really good. It was years ago that I watched it. But I remember it just being really, really good. Both actresses do a phenomenal job.
I have a quick question here, and this isn't going to mean much to our listeners, but I'm going to enjoy it. Is this the series that your dog sitter was really excited to watch when he was watching your dog?
Yes,
okay,
yes. Good memory, yes. I have to ask him what he thought, actually. And I should recommend this movie to him.
It's all right. I brought my Amazon Fire Stick. I just started Feud. It's amazing. I'm ready. ZD, let's sit down. Let's take all this in.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
All right. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Maybe that's why it felt familiar, because the dog watcher, I don't know. Yeah. I was like, maybe I recommended this, but I don't know why I would have before.
I don't know that you did.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I've heard only great things.
Yeah, so. It is good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Well,
I'm just.
I know you're verklempt.
This movie really put me through it,
and beautiful.
And like you said, I really do think, like, if you have little kids, I think you did say there was some nipple slippage in this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't notice, so it must not have been that aggressive.
Well, and I think I watched it as a kid. You know, when you're a kid, you don't pick up all the sexual overtony stuff. Or maybe you're like,
enough she grows a tail. Come on.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, but I could see it being like, this felt like a kid's movie to me. It really did. It felt silly, and it felt like something that would be on the Disney Channel in the early 90s or whatever.
A little preteen Disney. Again, there's a lot of sexual content still for little kids.
Okay. Well, yeah, the grandfather does talk about the great sex thing.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
But
so that'll do it for this episode. But Jamie, in 2 weeks' time, I know
what are we coming back with?
Excited about October. I know, but we're not in October yet. We're right at the very end. September 30th, our next episode will come out, and then we'll get into scary stuff. Next time, it is National Dog Week.
Hey.
So, Jamie, how do you feel about, and I could be wrong, have we done a Chevy Chase movie yet?
Yeah, he was in Three Amigos.
Three Amigos, of course.
Yeah.
That was a billion years ago, sorry.
But isn't there, I feel like there was something else, and I'm surprised that there's not.
Too. I don't know, there might be. But anyway, okay, so this will not be our first Chevy Chase. It might not be our second. It might not even be our third. I don't know what movies we've talked about, but I know what movies we haven't talked about. We're going to watch Heavenly Dog.
Oh, Heavenly Dog.
A film where Chevy Chase is murdered and reincarnated as a dog.
Amazing.
Who has to solve his own murder.
Amazing.
And the fun fact about this movie, there are some people who assert that this is part of the Benji series because it's the same dog that played Benji.
Yeah.
There are other people that say it's not actually part of the Benji series. And from what my limited research, it's kind of split down the middle. Half of the people were like, this is a Benji movie. Half of them were like, no. This is just a movie where Benji's in it.
All right. We'll see where we land.
We will settle that after we watch it and talk about it. We'll decide whether it's part of Benji canon, I guess. But that is what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to us talk about Wicked Stepmother for almost 2 hours. If you're a patron of this show, you're getting a show that's about 2 hours. The rest of you, an hour 40-ish. I mean, I'm not saying it's not worth it, but maybe go over to patreon.com/goodmovies. Good times, great movies, sorry. And see what we have there.
This year was definitely both a good time and a great movie.
This year?
No, this
movie. This one here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
We should quit until we, before we ruin the episode.
No, this is what makes it all worth it, You have to do the He-Mans to get to the Wicked Stepmothers. You know what I'm saying?
I hope we don't have to do. I hope we can just get to the Wicked Stepmothers from now on.
Well, one can hope. We'll just have to see. We'll see how Benji leaves us feeling. Huh?
We will definitely see.
Coming up
next. That will be in 2 weeks. Until then, everyone, have a great 2 weeks.
Take good care. Ishkabubble, ishkabubble.
Yiskibub, loopity, Fruit Loops. Oh, Babylonian. Ancient Babylonian.
Yeah,
sure. Why not?
Well, then, goodbye, everyone.